Namo Namaha. Welcome to the series on an introduction to Patanjali Yoga Darshan. I will start with a verse which is explaining what is the role of Patanjali. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. The meaning of this is that I bow down to Patanjali, who has written 3 treatises. One on yoga to remove the dirt from the mind. One on grammar, Patanjala Yoga Bhashya, to remove the dirt in speech or impurities of speech, and one on medicine, Charaka Samhita, to remove the impurities of the body. So, let us pray to Patanjali and start with our presentation. See how Patanjali is represented. He is half man and half serpent, because he is supposed to be the incarnation of Sheshanaga. Now we are focusing on his treatise called Yoga Darshanam. So let us first see how old is the word yoga. The word yoga occurs in Rigveda in various senses, such as yoking of horses, achieving the unachieved, connection, joining, etc. Later on, the word yoga, which was originally applied to the control of horses, began to be applied to the control of senses, because the senses, indriyas, are like horses who need to be controlled. The importance of prana was recognized by many Upanishads, but it did not take any systematic form of pranayam. Yoga is referred to by Katha, Shvetashvatara and Maitrayani Upanishads. Now, who is Patanjali? We do not know much about him. All that is known are the different anecdotes, but which do not throw any light on who he was. Only we know that he was a great sage and he lived around 2nd century before Common Era. And what he must have done? Ancient India had many physical practices to improve its strength and mental practices to improve the capacity. Patanjali must have gone through them. He must have classified them and formed them into a system. He also gave these practices a sound basis of Sankhya metaphysics. Yoga thus became one of the 6 orthodox systems of Indian philosophy. The others are Nyaya Vaisheshika, Sankhya Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Though it is a part of Indian philosophy, really speaking, it is Indian psychology. We will understand how it is Indian psychology when I give more lectures. Yoga traces man's journey towards a state which is free from afflictions, that is called klesha in yogic terminology, and effects of karma, and which unfolds infinite knowledge. Patanjali Yoga Darshanam, the whole treatise, is written in a sutra form. Sutra is an aphorism. Its definition, Alpaksharam asandigdham, Sarato Vishvato Mukham, Astobham Anavadyam cha, Sutram Sutravido Vidhu. What is the sutra? It has minimum words. Asandigdham, there is no doubt about it, it is not dubious. Sarataha, it gives the essence of the matter, what it is discussing. Vishvato Mukham, it has got universal application. Astobham, nothing can be inserted in it and nothing can be deleted from it. Anavadyam, blemishless, is an aphorism. So Yoga Darshanam has 4 chapters. Many a times it is called Patanjala Yoga Sutra also. It has got 195 sutras and they are divided into 4 chapters, namely Samadhi, Sadhana, Vibhuti and Kaivalya. It is commented upon by Vyasa in 400 CE, Common Era. The Yoga Sutras are understood better with the help of this commentary because the sutras are so brief that we do not understand the implicit meaning of it unless we read the commentary. In ancient times, many commentaries were written on Yoga Sutra and not only on Yoga Sutra, on Vyasa Bhashya. The first Bhashya that is written is by Vyasa, I have told you. Then Vachaspati Mishra in 9th century, he wrote Tattva Vaisharadi Tika on Vyasa Bhashya because Vyasa Bhashya became unintelligible by that time. Vijnana Bhikshu in 16th century wrote Yoga Vartika on Vyasa Bhashya again. Then Bhoja has written Rajamartanda Vritti on Yoga Sutra. And grammarian Nagoji Bhatta has written Chaya Vyakhya on Yoga Sutra. There are hundreds and thousands of books in various Indian languages as well as in English and other languages of the world. But if we want to understand Yoga Sutras in traditional way, we have to adhere to Vyasa Bhashya, and which will be done in my lectures. Let us see the first sutra. It is Atha Yoganuशासनम. Now starts the discipline of yoga. We will focus on Atha also and Anushasanam little later. But just now I want to focus on the word yoga. Normally, yoga is understood to mean connection, joining. But let us remember that in the whole of Yoga Sutra or Yoga Darshana, yoga does not mean joining. So what is the meaning of yoga? Let's take help of Vyasa. Yoga Samadhi, such as Sarvabhaumaha Chittasya Dharmaha. Vyasa defines yoga as Samadhi. Yoga does not mean joining in Patanjali's Yoga Darshana. Let us focus on the word Samadhi, because the moment we utter the word Samadhi, we feel that it is a very mysterious word. Let's go to the etymology. Sam plus a plus dha. Dha is the root, dha means to place, a means all from all sides, asamantat, and sam means in balance. Since Samadhi is a characteristic of Chitta, let us say Samadhi has to place all the aspects of Chitta in balance. That is its real meaning. Now if you just remove sam from Samadhi, it becomes Adhi. Means the Chitta is placed all over, it is scattered all over, which gives rise to mental disease. And Charaka, when he writes about mental diseases, he says, Vyadhis can be cured with medicine, but for Adhis, that is mental diseases, you need something more. And in that, Jnana Vijnana Dhairya Samadhi, he includes Samadhi also. Now this Adi mental disease, when it trickles down on the body, in a variety of ways, Vividha, Vigata, in contrary ways, then it gives rise to physical diseases. From these cognates we know that the meaning that we have given to Samadhi is right. Now Vyasa says it is the characteristic of Chitta and it spreads to all its bhumis. Bhumi means states. Chitta Bhumi they are called. And these are 5. Chitta is a product of Prakriti and so it is Trigunatmaka, composed of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And its proportion goes on changing. Kshipta Chitta is a scattered Chitta. Kshipa means to throw, which has predominance of Rajas. Mudha Chitta is a deluded Chitta. It has predominance of Tamas. Vikshipta is occasionally concentrated Chitta, where Chitta has Rajas. It is scattered, but occasionally, because of the tinge of Sattva, it becomes concentrated. At present, all of you listeners, you must be in this Vikshipta state, because if you cannot, then you will not understand what is being told over here. All of us go into this state many times. Ekagra is a concentrated Chitta where there is predominance of Sattva. And Niruddha is a restrained Chitta where even this Sattva Vritti goes away. Only the last 2 states come under the purview of yoga, says Vyasa. The Ekagra Chitta leads to Sampradnyata Samadhi and Niruddha Chitta leads to Asampradnyata Samadhi. By Asampradnyata Samadhi, the seer is established in his own form. And this is the goal of yoga. If this is the goal of yoga, to re-establish soul in its own nature, how many paths Patanjali has given? He has given 4 paths. We hardly know. We know Patanjali only for Ashtanga Yoga, many a times only for asana and pranayam. It is not so. These 4 paths are meant for people of differing temperament and differing capacity. All this is very necessary, otherwise nobody will be able to follow only one path because their capacities differ. For superior type of practitioners, Abhyas and Vairagya is suggested. This is one path. For middling type of practitioners, Kriya Yoga is given. For ordinary type of practitioners, like all of us, Ashtanga Yoga is given. And for emotional practitioners, Ishvara Pranidhana is given. Normally, what is expected is I should start with the first pada and Abhyasa Vairagya, but I am not doing that because we understand that path better from where we stand and from which we can start our journey. So I think Ashtanga Yoga really suits all of us, and so I am going to start with Ashtanga Yoga. The sutra is Yoganga Anushthanaat Ashuddhikshaye Jnanadiptihi Aviveka Khyate. Many a times I have dissolved the Sanskrit word sandhis and I have written. Sometimes whenever I read, I will dissolve them and read. Then the meaning one understands better. Yoga Anga Anushthana, from the practice of the components of yoga. The important word is Anusthana. No use repeating all the sutras on Ashtanga Yoga. No use knowing it by heart. We have to practice them. Then what happens? Impurities within are destroyed. Ashuddhikshaye. There is light within. That is, this, when impurities are destroyed, it gives rise to spiritual illumination. And this develops till discrimination between matter and spirit. Viveka Khyati is a typical word of Yoga Shastra, and it means one should discriminate between matter and spirit. That is also the goal of yoga. Then out of the 4 paths leading to samadhi, mentioned by Patanjali, Ashtanga Yoga receives more elaboration. It is a structured discipline trying to balance all the aspects of our personality. We should focus our attention on the word anga, limb. The 8 limbs together constitute one body of yoga. As in a human body, each limb grows simultaneously in proportion to all the others until full development is reached. Same process occurs here. We have to follow all the 8 limbs of yoga. Let us know which are these 8 limbs. Yama is vows of self-restraint. Niyama, observances. Asana, postures or postural patterns. Pranayama, breathing exercises, not a good translation. We should keep the word as pranayama. Pratyahara, internalization of senses. Dharana, focus. Dhyana, meditation. All these lead to samadhi, the goal of yoga. Please have a look at these 8 names of these limbs. Here, which root prevails? The root yama. Yama is to have control. See the first word yama. In the second, it is preceded by the preposition ni, intense. Then in asana, no yama, okay. In pranayama, prana plus a plus yama, yama is from yama, have control or pranic energy. So the control becomes more subtle. Pratyahara, no root yama, but dharana, dhyana, samadhi, trayam ekatra sanyamaha, all these 3 are called sanyama by Patanjali. See again, yama and their sum in balance. So here everything comes under observation and then control. We have to have exercise voluntary control on different aspects of our personality. In yama and niyama, our social and personal behavior respectively is controlled. Then in asana, movement of our physical body. In pranayama, breathing. In pratyahara, senses. In dharana and dhyana, thought activity. And all these lead to samadhi. Yama and niyama. Their importance in Ashtanga Yoga is least understood. Let aside its practice. But this is a framework for the practice of different limbs of yoga. These can be interpreted as values which one has to inculcate in life. The 5 yamas refer to the 5 behavioral tendencies to be controlled. Let's see which are these yamas. Ahimsa. Let's focus on each one. Each one has more deeper meaning that it looks. It means physical, mental, verbal, non-injury, correct? Normally we take it to mean not to injure others. But the other meaning is not to injure ourselves also. It is non-aggression towards oneself and others. In our enthusiasm, many a times we really injure ourselves. Physically, mentally, emotionally. No doubt we injure others, but we injure ourselves also. We have to abstain from it. And ahimsa, though it looks a negative, ahimsa, ultimately it should flower into love for all and service to the whole of humanity. Satya. Satya is from sata, to exist, worthy of existence. Truthfulness, right? But truthfulness means not saying lies out and out, that is one meaning. But see, so many shades of non-truthfulness are there in our speech, in our behavior. We do overestimation of something, some object or somebody in order to get something out of that person. Or we do underestimation, and because we do not want that person to come up. Hypocritical statements. All these are the forms of asatya, and we should abstain from them. Asteya is non-grabbing of tangible or intangible things. Tangible things we understand. We are a very civilized society, civilized people. We will not take even 1 rupee of anybody. But we may not feel shy of taking the credit of the work that other person has done. So many times we hear that juniors write the articles, juniors do the research, and credit is taken over by the seniors. We should abstain from them. What others are doing, it doesn't matter to us. Then we should avoid misappropriation. When we are angry as a community, what we do? First we destroy the public property, the trains, the buses. When we go to the public parks, we litter them. It is wrong. This is also steya. This is also theft. And we avail privileges that really do not belong to us. We should not take advantage of those things, but still we are taking. So, let aside the example of Vishveshwaraya, who would do his own research by the papers and the pen and the ink that is bought by his money, and when he is doing office research, everything would be given by the office. This is the climax to the level we can reach. See, grabbing has a reflex in our brain. We have to make a stop at it. Then brahmacharya. Do not confine this word to celibacy. Charya is lifestyle or behavior that will take us towards the ultimate reality, Brahman. That means a lifestyle of regulated consumption of internal energy. We do not have only sexual energy. We have physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy also. So it should be directed properly. And external resources also we should use with great vigilance. The natural resources that are given to us by nature, we should preserve nature. We should use electricity and water with great care. All these can come under brahmacharya. So we should avoid overindulgence in anything. Aparigraha means non-hoarding. Means we don't have to hoard or possess so many things which are not needed by us. Out of insecurity, out of fear, we do all these things. And then we have to maintain them. If they are lost, we are very sorry. So all these things happen because we go on hoarding things. And whatever we have, we should not have attachment for that also. Parigraha has that attachment behind it that we should give up. So these are the 5 yamas. Even 1 hour we can speak only on yamas, but because of the time constraint, let us proceed further. So aren't these yamas tenets of social wellness and ecological wellness? Brahmacharya comes in that. These yamas provide a universal framework which makes us humane. We are human beings, but it will make us humane. And mind you, anga anusthana, we have to practice them. Not in our morality period, we listen to them and just forget. No. It should be conservation oriented, existence promoting, consuming bare essential, and abstaining from stealing and hoarding. See what character it will make of a human being. Let us come to the yamas. It is control with more specification. It is intense control in personal life. That is in social life. Yomas are in the social life. Of course, personally also we have to change so that it will reflect in social life. Shaucha means cleanliness. Normally we understand cleanliness of our body externally. That is a must. But internal cleanliness, we have to cleanse our mind again and again. So many methods are given in our tradition to do that. We'll come to know many more in the course of time. That is importance. Shaucha means ordering also. We should have order in the place where we stay or the place of work. Otherwise, we will not feel nice, we will not feel like working there, we will not feel like staying over there. Santosha is contentment, irrespective of expectation or outcome. See, our goals are always high. We are not able to reach the goal in 1 day, 2 days, not sometimes in 1 month, in months, maybe in years. So all the time we should be dissatisfied. Yes, we should be dissatisfied that we are progressing a bit slow, we should progress more. Yes, for that I understand. But can't we be little bit satisfied and pat ourselves saying that I was not doing this for so many months, now I have started it and I have great control on my waking up and my sleep hours, and just pat yourself, good, keep it up. That makes a lot of difference. If you are doing yoga, you are not able to touch your forehead to your knees in Paschimottanasana, you should say, okay, formerly the distance between these two was 10 inches, now it has become 9 inches. Good, pat yourself. Don't stop there, but that is really essential. Tapas is effortful expansion of abilities. I will explain it how. Take a simple vow or take simple thing like doing like fasting. In fast, what do? We are hungry, we are thirsty, but we tell ourselves, bear with it. Not now. We will eat or drink after 2 hours, or not today, tomorrow. So what we are doing here, tolerate our internal drives. Our brain tells us, eat now, this is the time, and we are asking the brain, voluntary control on that. No, not now. It increases tremendous capacity and external forces. Suppose we are doing parikrama. At that time, the heat, the cold, the rains, these are the external forces. They say stop, but if we stop, it is not good, we have to proceed. And we are able to tolerate those external forces also. It is lot of training to our brain. Swadhyaya is self-study. It is an important step in the assimilation of knowledge. Just reading, just going through it, just repeating is of no use. You have to study it yourself and try to assimilate it by doing chintana and manana on it. Swadhyaya, can we take it some other meaning also? Swa means self. Try to study yourself and not being inflated with ego that I am so great and I am like this and I am like that. Just try to see how your mind and your ego are playing mischief. Where are you going wrong? What are you doing? How are you behaving? Just every day at night, if we do this Svadhyaya and have the resolve that tomorrow I am not going to fall prey to my ego or I am not going after anything that lures me, that is a good Svadhyaya. Ishvara Pranidhana is to submit oneself to higher governor or judgment. See, otherwise our ego goes on inflating. We have to surrender, we have to bow down to something or somebody. Then only our ego comes down. So, these are the niyamas. Importance of niyama. They provide a universal framework of emotional wellness. See what all it gives us. satisfied nature, santosha, tolerant of hardship and uncertainty, tapas, being able to trust and submit, Ishvara Pranidhana. They also lay the ground rules for effective learning, namely ordering, shaucha, regular self-study, svadhyaya, hard work, tapas, deriving satisfaction, santosha, avoiding self-indulgence, which together will shape individual's character. Higher brain systems are involved in development of yama and niyama. Because, as I told you, for grabbing, for hoarding, for himsa, these circuits exist in our brain. We have to overcome that. We have to know that these are troubling us now. We have to break the circuit. And we break the circuit, the higher brain system, that is the frontal lobe, prefrontal cortex, the frontal lobe of the brain comes in force. So that is the use of yama and niyama, and that is why we should follow yama and niyama throughout our life. If one is weak in yama and niyama, one's foundation is not so deep and great, then one will fall prey to so many things, even if one proceeds on the path of yoga. How long will you do asana, pranayama and dhyana? 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. What will you do for the rest 20 hours, 21, 22 hours? There you have to follow yama and niyama. They have got, it is anusandhana of these that will make you a better human being. Now, when we decide that we are going to follow this yama and niyama, all the contrary thoughts will come to our mind. These are called vitarka. See the next sutra, vitarka badhane pratipaksha bhavanam. When the mind is disturbed by improper thoughts, vitarka badhane, what one has to do? Pratipaksha bhavanam, constant pondering over the opposites. Pratipaksha, opposites. Bhavanam is pondering. This word bhavanam or bhavana occurs 4 times in the Yoga Sutra. And this word is from Ayurveda. When it is a process in Ayurveda, when any herb or some herbs, they undergo the process, maybe process of heating, maybe process of dissolving it in some other, liquids, or keep it in the sun, or keep it in the shadow, or do what not with that one herb. Why it is done? In order that all the bad properties of that herb should be destroyed, negative properties, and positive properties should be enhanced. That is called bhavana. So bhavana is not sentimentality. It is constant pondering over it so that it changes yourself. And it has great effects. If you really follow Pratipaksha Bhavanam, it will help one a lot in our life when we are trying to combat all negative thoughts and negative actions. So, while imbibing yama and niyamas in life, these thoughts will arise in our mind, the thoughts of aggression. If we want to follow ahimsa, thoughts of himsa will come to our mind. Grabbing, we like to grab because we want to follow asteya. Hoarding out of anxiety, inconsiderate consumerism, discontentment all the time. All these make the mind unstable. Okay, so one has to do constant pondering on the opposites. Himsa is to be replaced by ahimsa. Asatya is to be replaced by satya, and so on. See, it is like a fight. Paksha and Pratipaksha, normally it comes in a fight, in a war. It is a war that is waged inside us, and we should have a powerful, instrument by which we will fight these negative thoughts, and it is Pratipaksha Bhavanam. A very nice sutra comes here. very few sutras of Patanjali, they go to the next line. One sutra can be written on one line. So for 195 sutras, at the most you will need 200 lines. So only some 4-5 sutras are a bit long. This is one of them. Very beautiful sutra. Vitarka himsadayaha kruta karita anumodita lobha krodha moha purvaka mrudu madhya adhimatra dukha ajnana ananta phala iti pratipaksha bhavanam. Why we should do pratipaksha bhavana? First he explains what is vitarka. Vitarkas are himsadayaha. See, our yama list starts with ahimsa. So himsadayaha means everything from ahimsa up to Ishvara Pranidhana, all 10, all the opposites of it. Now, whether these wrong actions or thoughts are kruta, done by yourself, karita, done through others, we are not able to do it. So we employ somebody else to do that bad work, karita. Sometimes we only approve. All wrong things are happening. We can stop those, but we do not stop. We approve, we stand there taking a video nowadays. That is wrong. Now, whether it is preceded by greed, anger or delusion, lobha, krodha, moha, these three are called trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanam atmana aingita. Kama, krodha, tatha, lobho, tasmade tatrayam tyajet. The same three things come here. Whether preceded by lobha, greed, anger, delusion, whether present in mild, medium or intense degree, result in endless pain and ignorance. So, there is the necessity of pondering over the opposites. See, normally modern psychology, or normally we also know, that how should we find a way out for our negative feelings. We say we must vent out our thoughts. Why we should be troubled inside? Tell that person what all is wrong. Vent your thoughts out. The other person is hurt, but your mind becomes very, very impure. It's very disturbed when you do all these things. Or sometimes they say, if the other person is a senior person, you suppress all your emotions. So suppressing it or venting it out, these are the only means to do away with these negative thoughts. Patanjali has given us a third one, which is a pratipaksha bhavanam. It is worth following in life. So, I think we have done the first yama and niyama in details, and then we have done if the opposites of yama and niyama, they trouble you, what is to be done. Okay? And that's why this is a very, very important chapter of Ashtanga Yoga, which is not understood, which is not followed by anyone. If you ask anybody, they say they are doing yoga. Means what are you doing? Many asanas and pranayam for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. No dharana, no dhyana, and not preceded by yama and niyama. If we have understood the importance of these, I think this is better for our own betterment. We should be we are good, but we will be better human beings, and we will follow this path of yoga more vehemently, and we will get some success in it if it is preceded by yama and niyama. Next time we will do asana and the rest of the things. Let us stop here. Say Om thrice. Om. शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम.